folks, and welcome to another Saturday Morning Samoflange. Benjamin's still not here. We're in the middle of shows right now. Probably won't be here for another 2 weeks, maybe 3. I'm not sure what he's doing afterwards. He's going to take a break. But either way, I do have a few, one topic in particular I wanted to talk about because I love to laugh. We all love to laugh. It is getting close to the month of November. As of this podcast, I believe it will be, or right before it. And I want to talk about times I laughed. I'm very thankful for laughter. I love it. I've had lots of fun times. There are plenty of times I've laughed, but the times I've laughed the hardest, or the ones I can remember, are the ones I want to talk about today. So yes, this is a happy podcast about laughing. Now, I do wish that Benjamin was here, maybe talking about his favorite times of laughter, or Mikey. I really tried to get Mikey to come from Saturday Morning Samoflange to come over. Benjamin's been too busy lately, and Mikey was the original co-host, and every blue moon he's able to come over, but was not able to tonight. So that's all right, because I think this is one that he would definitely love. I think both of these topics over the next few weeks are topics he would love, but unfortunately, just me. Thankfully, not the case for Prince of the Universe, as Wes will be coming back, and that will be a lot of fun. So once I get my co-host back for Saturday Morning Samoflange, all will be right in the world, and I don't have to be talking by myself, which I really kind of don't like doing. In fact, the whole purpose of the podcast was to talk with friends, not by myself, my lonesomes here. I'll go into the top 5 hardest times I've laughed. I wrote these out, and I wrote these out in this order. And so I decided to number them in this order. Like, what were the times I laughed the hardest? And I tried to rank these, but I thought, you know what? From the moment I thought about it, these are the 5 funniest times probably in my mind. I've been thinking about it for a couple of days since I wrote down the list, and I wouldn't change the order that I thought about the times that I laughed about these either. So here we go. And from backwards order, because we're always counting down here, here are my top 5 times I've laughed the hardest and why. Number 5 is one, I believe I talked about this in my top 5 weddings memories, and so I won't repeat it much, but my brother passing out at my cousin's wedding, I could not stop laughing. My mom got mad at me. We ruined I don't think we ruined pictures, but I was laughing during the pictures of the ceremony. And it's still one of the funniest things I have ever experienced. So lots of laughter there. So moving on. Number 4. There's a friend of mine. He is now a chiropractor in town. We're not as good friends. In fact, once he went off to school, we stopped being friends. Or not stopped being friends. We just kind of lost contact. And I still love him and would wish him the best and wish we could hang out more, but we don't. And even before that, we were kind of drifting apart. Like, there was one time where I would have said I was one of his few friends. He had lots of friends, but I was one of his closest friends. You know, we really connected a lot and had a lot of good times. And although I wasn't asked to be in the wedding, which I was a little bit surprised, I thought, oh, well, I'm going to be in the wedding, because we had hung out all the time. And I wasn't offended I wasn't in the wedding, but I was a little shocked. I was like, oh, I thought he was going to invite me to be in his wedding. And I thought that was going to be my last wedding, too, back in the day, because I wasn't getting into weddings anymore. But I was allowed to sit on the family row. I was supposed to sit with the family. The usher set me down with the family. And I was like, whoops, wrong. I'm not family. So I sat one pew behind, and then the mom and dad said, hey, what are you doing? Get back up here. We told them you sit with us. So I was really close with the family and everything. And we were all good. I mean, we're still good friends today. And anyway, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I thought about this story, this may be the reason why we're not friends anymore. I mean, we talk, and I'm sure we'd hang out and do stuff, and but I think the reason he stopped hanging out was probably because I laughed at something that happened to him a long time ago in theater. We did a show together. This is years ago. But we did a show together, and sometimes there are quick changes off stage. If anyone does theater, you know what I mean. Generally speaking, these are not men. These are usually women that have to do quick costume changes from one dress to the next. Usually the man can stay in the same costume. Every once in a while, a man does have to change. But usually, in my experience, has been quick costume changes for the girls. What does that mean? Well, they created a privacy closet. They just hung a drape over the staircase, the crevice of the staircase. And so the woman will go in there and get stripped down by one or two other people and get buttoned up, fastened up as fast as she can, but completely stripped down. And some ladies have just said, you know what? I don't want to walk to the staircase. I'll just get naked here, or in their skivvies. It happens. It's a part of theater. It's one of the things you're going to see, maybe. I never got to see any of that. I was over on the other end. If the men had to exit, they'd try to get the men to exit on the other end, and the ladies and you couldn't see anything across the stage, so everything was okay. But every once in a while you'd hear a story about, whoops, saw her naked. Well, my buddy had one. I'm still laughing about this. My buddy had such an experience where the lady, generally, she had enough time to walk back into the dressing room and change. Sure, it was a quick change, but she had about 10 minutes or something. So she had time to run back to the dressing room, change, and come back. I mean, plenty of time, maybe even 7-8 minutes. I don't know, but it was enough time to properly get undressed and dress and change and come back out. Well, for some reason whatsoever, she decided that she was just going to strip down right there because she had her dress off to the side, and she was on the wrong side of the exit, meaning on the men's side. Generally, it wasn't designated, nothing was designated, but generally women, if they had to do a fast change, exit stage, I can't remember what it is, stage right, I guess. They had to exit stage right underneath and go underneath the staircase. She was exiting the opposite direction because she had enough time to change, but she decided, you know what, I'm going to just strip to the skivvies right here, and really was just, braless, not wearing anything. I'm assuming she had underwear on, not up top though, and was dressing. And generally there was no one in that corridor either, so she could have done it. Well, my buddy, walking around waiting for his cue, ran smack into her. And you're like, okay, why is this funny? She is old. She is old. She is ancient. She is old. And my friend could not unsee what he had seen. And the thing is, when he told me this story, he's like, you will not believe what just happened to me. I was like, what? And he said, blank, said her name. I said, yes, old hag. He goes, yeah, he was there, butt naked. She said she had her panties on, butt naked, and just changing for some reason. And I was like, wait, what? He was like, yes. He said, when I walked in, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. She just stepped, instead of covering up, she just stood up and stared at him like, well, what do you think? Or whatnot, And he just didn't know what to do. And he couldn't. He's like, I'm gonna go. But there she is, naked. I could not stop laughing. And then of course I had him tell the story to everyone in the dressing room. All the while I was crying. I was laughing so hard at this story. And I kept wanting him to tell the story. And he was getting irritated with me. And maybe this is how we broke, we started drifting apart as friends. Like I said, until I started thinking about this story, it kind of makes sense now. Because he shared that with me. He didn't want to share it with the world. I never told the story because it didn't happen to me, but I would always say, tell them the story. So I instigated it. So that is kind of wrong. So, I mean, I believe he's over it because he talks to me. We'll talk and say hello, but I think that's what drifted us apart from being friends. It's like, wow, this guy's being a real jerk. I didn't want to tell. I'm kind of embarrassed about the story, but he's making me tell it to everyone. And I still think it's hilarious. It's the number 4 funniest time. I mean, the entire time backstage, I was cackling. I went out, I did my scene, I walked off stage, and I started laughing again. I laughed for weeks over that. I love that story. And I will never ask him to repeat the story again, I guess. But because he tells it perfectly. I mean, about everything that happened, how her face looked, everything. I did a terrible. I would even do a terrible job of telling the story because I wasn't there, and I'm glad I was not there too. I want to add that it was super funny. It was super duper funny. So, and I never had. It's funny because I never had an onstage kiss. The only onstage kiss I was gonna have, one got rewritten. It was Miss Louisiana, I remember, and I knew in my heart of hearts there was no way the missus, who was the choreographer, was going to allow that to happen. And sure enough, when we finally got to the scene where I had to kiss my wife, who was Miss Louisiana, or former Miss Louisiana, they said, hey, Matt, what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're just going to hug her and then say your line. I went, oh, hug. I said, it's a hug now. I said, yes. And I went, oh, because in the script, it said something else. And then everyone started laughing. The director's like, just do the scene, because everyone had read the script too, and everyone started breaking down laughing. And what made it really funny is my wife screamed. We couldn't see out of the stage, but my wife screamed out, I didn't say a word, and everyone just blew. I fell out laughing. Now that wasn't one of my funniest moments, but just stage moment there that I thought was really funny. Any romantic? In fact, there was one. I remember there's another show I was supposed to kiss her, but the director went, you know what? That doesn't make sense why you'd kiss her here. So we may save it to the end. But we never did it in the end because it was a musical number at the end. So I never got to do never had to do the kiss there. And the show I was about to do, I was supposed to kiss, but we didn't. That girl, I don't know. They said that she was mad at the director. I don't know, man. She seemed furious with me. She didn't talk to me. She was just pissed. But everyone in the cast said, no, Matt, it was the director she was pissed with. Then why was she talking to everyone but me? I don't know. I mean, she was younger too, and I'd be pissed too if I had to kiss me. Ugh. But we didn't even practice the kiss, and it was a week. I remember the week of. The director goes, y'all have got to start kissing. She says, I'm sorry, I know it's awkward, but I said, well, I'm for it. Let's. I mean, we can do it. Let's go. And so she said she would do it the week of. I was like, fine. That was fine. And of course, that was when pandemic happened and we shut everything down. So nothing came of that, which is fine. Not that I'm complaining, but I never got to see anyone naked either. And I hear naked stories all the time at theater. Like, I mean, everyone has told me naked stories. Like when I had someone else say, the weird thing about her? No, she walks around butt naked in the ladies' dressing room all the time. I was like, really? Why? Is she changing? No, she likes to be naked. She's a nudist. And they had her stop doing it because she used to walk around during shows naked. In the background, I was like, this happened before me? Of course it did. Not that I want to see that person naked either, but I was like, wow, because I never knew this world existed. Being a part of theater. Another little funny moment about theater, since I had to rush through the first story. Theater, I remember one of the guys, a good friend of mine, CJ from Saturday Morning Samoflange, was putting on eyeliner. He goes, he said, did you forget to bring your eyeliner? And I went, do we need eyeliner? He went, yeah, we need eyeliner. And I went, oh, okay. I don't have any. He went, here, you can borrow an extra one of mine. And I said, thanks. And he goes, well, are you going to do it? And I said, I don't know how. He said, you've never put on eyeliner before? And I wanted to say, well, dude, in a normal situation, you would be the weirdo for asking that. Just saying. Either way, though, fun stories backstage, but that was my favorite one. Number 3 was one that just happened recently. We did an episode of Prince of the Universe with Brandon asking random questions. I had no idea how hilarious that was going to be. It was not planned. It didn't translate well on the podcast because it's mainly us just laughing and quietly trying to take back the conversation and save the podcast. I don't care. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I'm usually not one for repeating things, but there are some questions left in this box from our youth. And I do plan to go through the rest of the questions with Wes on occasion. But these youthful questions, I want Brandon back one more time. Can we recapture that magic? Maybe not. Maybe not. But I had such a good time. After it was over, after the podcast was over, I remember we were all laughing and just talking about how much fun that felt. It felt like we were back at the mall, in the store, cracking on each other, because that's what we used to do. We used to I had so many, Wes made so many cracks on me, I made cracks on him. No one got mad. No one got mad. Wes was always, still today, I mean, comments on my dress and whatnot. I don't dress up. I'm wearing the same clothes I did from years ago. That's just not me. Fashion is not my thing. It's always been Wes's thing to look your best, and that's fine. I respect that. He worked at several clothing stores too. And I remember, he doesn't remember this probably. He worked at Express one time. He's like, Cuckoo, he used to call me Cuckoo. Cuckoo, I'll buy you a shirt. You've got to change. I cannot, like whatever I had on. He was just aghast and bought me an Express shirt. Maybe brought me two. I can't remember. Just because he wanted me to look like a decent human being. He also paid for my hair to be cut, the George Clooney Caesar cut, because I didn't see what the point was. He went, and my hair still is the same. It's all wavy and fluffy, and I'll just cut it. It's a very normal looking haircut. And he said, you need to get a Roman style, Caesar style haircut. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, I'll pay for it. And of course, being a poor college kid, I was like, sure. And so I had the George Clooney cut for a while. And then, what was it? Ugh, Cuckoo, your hair. It was fine. And the thing is, I never got offended by that. I made fun of him too. All the time. Still pick on him. You should see how he goes up my stairs. It's like someone dying of a heart attack every step. And we love each other. That's the fun thing, that when you're friends like that, it's okay. No one gets their feelings hurt. And I'll be honest though, for Brandon, and Wes and I both agreed, what a trooper for being there, for making jokes, for being, that guy is just right in life. He's perfect in his life. He's happy with his life. He makes the best of everything. Someone else probably would have walked off and called us the worst friends in the world, and I would have agreed to that. But Brandon's super cool. And I mean, honestly, utmost respect for him. That doubles for Wes too. We were just talking about that the other night when I had Wes over for a podcast. How much we respected Brandon, and we love him. We love him. But that whole thing about just ragging on him and everything, that was honestly, I remember I thanked him afterwards, and I said, this has just been one of the best nights. And still, right, it was the third thing I thought about. When I was like, wow. Because I remember just going to bed, chuckling, and listening to the podcast. And of course, yes, it's a little bit of a train wreck, but don't care, because I was laughing again at it. Because I just knew what was happening in the background. That would have been a much better video than it would have been a podcast. Because then you could have seen how we're just dying. I got up and walked away. I couldn't believe, I didn't even look at the questions we were going to ask him. And everything, every question, every response by Brandon. I mean, if you notice, Wes and I gave one-liners sometimes. Like we always talk, but no. No, we answered the question as quick as we could so we could give it to Brandon. That's when you know you got a good friend. But anyway, that was my number 3. My number 2, and I've mentioned this one on Saturday Morning Samoflange too, on best road trips. This is one of my best road trips. I've had some great road trips before. And this was one of them, I know. I went on a cruise for a bachelor's party, which I thought was an awesome idea, for a friend of mine. This is back in the day when I was hot and wanted in the wedding world as a groomsman. I was in weddings all the time back then, but we went on a cruise, and on the drive, I believe it was the drive back. The whole time, we laughed, and it got so bad I had to pull over. It was my turn to drive. I had to pull over and stop the car because I could not see anymore. I was laughing so hard, and the tears were in my eyes. We were making jokes. We were telling stories. One guy told a story about his dad growing up, which to this day, I swear, if Jeff were to tell me this joke, I'd laugh just as hard of the story of what his dad growing up had to do. His granddad did to his dad. And just old man recipes, how things were back in the day, and how something was just so awkward and wild. And it was so funny. So funny. I remember I had to pull over. I could not breathe. I was choking up, hot tears, and knew we were about to wreck. But when I turned off the car, we must have sat there and laughed for 10 minutes too, because everyone was laughing. And I mean, we went to, and I said this in the story, another Samoflange, so I'll keep it short. But going into Dairy Queen, and Jeff with a straight face asking this lady it was like an episode of Borat, Where there's a deleted scene in Borat where Borat keeps asking, what is this? And the answer is always cheese, because he's going down a supermarket and he's pointing at cheese. It's a deleted scene, which I'm sure is on YouTube, and it's so freaking hilarious because the guy keeps going, that's cheese too. Like he's not in on the joke. And that's exactly what my buddy was doing to the Dairy Queen lady behind the counter, asking her how much this sauce was, this sauce packet. It was all 50 cents. And he said, what if I added both? What if they were the same? What if they were different? And she kept, would that be $1? Because they're both 50 cents. And she didn't get the joke. I had to run, not walk, run out of the store because I was about to lose it. And I fell down on the stair, on the little stair. There's a little cement stair. I dropped down on that one and I just rolled on the floor. I mean, physically could not get up. I was laughing so hard. I mean, the whole time. It was like we had Joker gas. We were laughing so hard the entire trip back. It was so much fun. It was so much fun and so hilarious. It is easily my number 2. And again, I've talked about this, so I'll move on. Number 1, and I want to say years ago, Bruce and I told this story. Bruce and I had to have told this story years ago, but it's been years on Prince of the Universe because it would have been an earlier episode. There's a friend of mine. It was Bruce, Roger, and myself. We were the 3 amigos, my first roommates. And Bruce and Roger I'd met at the same time, was friends with Roger probably a year more than I was, or one year for sure, maybe 2 years before Bruce. And Bruce and I were always closer, but Roger and I were thick as thieves, and we still talk every once in a while. The man comes into town every blue moon, never calls until he's on his way back home and apologizes for not visiting me. But I hope to see him again because he is a good friend. He just lives a very busy life now and doesn't live around here. But the Roger stories, a long time ago in Prince of the Universe, I believe, I'm almost positive Bruce and I told Roger stories. And I'm going to retell this one again because it is my favorite one. Bruce wasn't there for it. And Bruce is very familiar with the story because I called and told him afterwards. And Roger later on told him too. But there was a time where it was the breaking up. We were all breaking up. Bruce and Roger were both getting married. Bruce got married first. Bruce owned all the furniture and all the silverware, okay, and all the dishes. Now these are used dishes, used silverware, used couch. But Bruce thought, well, it's mine, so I need to take it. He didn't leave it. You know, usually it's just junk you just leave. He was getting all new stuff. He got all new furniture for his new home, new dish set and everything. But he just felt like, oh, this is all my old stuff, so I need to take it too. Well, I mean, like everything that was furnished was his. So we had no furniture. I walked in, we had every day there'd be something missing. And we were sitting on floors because we didn't have any, we didn't have a table because Bruce took the little coffee table or the little dining room table that we had. We didn't have anything to eat on, so I had to buy paper plates because he took everything, all the silverware, all the utensils, everything, because that was his. It was his. You know, I mean, there was a glass that was mine, a few glasses that were mine, but everything else was his. He just cleaned everything out. He didn't take anything that wasn't his. But anyway, every day we were losing something. Every day, Roger got angrier and angrier at it. Well, this particular day, what was it? He had taken the microwave. Now, the microwave was pretty much crap. It was an old, dirty, run-down microwave. It was on its last legs. There was no need for Bruce to take it. He already had 2 new ones in his new home. But he felt like, oh yeah, that microwave is mine too, so he took that too. And when you take away a college kid's microwave, or fresh out of college, you basically just could have just taken out the oven. We never even used the oven. In fact, I'm sure we had an oven there. We just never used it. I don't remember the oven in my apartment that obviously had an oven, but we never would use the oven. We always used the microwave to pop things in. Well, now that was gone. I was kind of depressed. And he had taken the couches too that day, maybe, I think, or the last of the chairs. And so I'm sitting on the floor talking to a buddy of mine who's also sitting on the floor because we had guests over all the time. Now just grab some floor. Now remember, we're all college kids or fresh out of college, you know, still. I'm young 20s, and so are all my friends. And Roger comes in, and Roger's pissed because the furniture's missing. And now we have no place to sit. And we already took the plates and everything earlier. So Roger's going off a mile a minute with his mouth, talking about, where's he going to sit? Anywhere he wants to. And I mean, it's just, and when he gets mad, it is just so funny. Like, Merry Christmas, what do you want? I was like, I don't know. Can I have a couch, Bruce? No, but I got 17. You know what you can have, Roger? You can have some, he said, you can have some lube. And I went, and it's just all laughing about this now. And Roger never rants anymore. He never rants. He's kind of smooth. He's calmed down and everything, which is a shame. A Roger rant is a spectacle. It's an event. I promise you. And no doubt, Bruce would too. I throw down $100 to hear an authentic Roger rant right now. I would throw down $100 in a heartbeat. Money well spent for, something that's 10 minutes or less. Money well spent. Because, he gets really creative in his insults as he's ranting. And really vivid and really animated. And it is so funny. We talked about the story where he destroyed the VCR. He thought his VCR wasn't working. I said, maybe it's the tape. He went, nope, it's the VCR. Went and got a hammer, just pounded away, destroyed the VCR. We brought out Bruce's VCR and found out it was indeed the tape. The room got deadly silent, and Roger goes, I don't care. I didn't like that VCR anyway. And we all just started laughing. That's the kind of rants that were just epic back in the day. And that would be an honorable mention. In fact, now I thought of another one that was really funny. Is it funnier than all these? No, probably not. But I just thought of another honorable mention. Anyway, let me finish this. Roger's ranting, and I tell him, hey man, there's some fajitas in the fridge. Walmart had they had $2 for 2 frozen burritos or whatever. And they were huge. And they were delicious. And we would buy them all the time. And I said, look, man, and I just bought a stack of them. I said, look, dude, I bought a stack of them. Why don't you have a burrito or fajita or whatever it was? I said, go ahead. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. He said, those are good. And Roger's now in calm down mode. And Roger always would say, hey, guys, I want to apologize for what I just said. That wasn't right. It's not fair to Bruce. I love Bruce. He called Bruce a peckerwad, but he wanted us to know he still loved Bruce. He's just, angry that he took everything. He didn't have to do that. But he would apologize. And because it's Roger, he would also apologize to Bruce. Even though Bruce wasn't there, he'd go ahead and apologize. Roger was the most humble person at the same time. He still is today. Like Bruce, when I told Bruce the story, Bruce did nothing but laugh. He did nothing but laugh. He was not offended at all by anything Roger said. Roger said a lot of stuff, but he knows it's Roger. It's cool. Well, of course, I said, go pop it in the microwave, which is the key to have him go in there and find out that the microwave is gone too. So he walks back in the kitchen, opens the fridge, closes it, and then there's dead silence. And I'm looking at my buddy John, and then I hear, he took the microwave too! And then he comes rushing out there, and he is angry. And I am dying at this point. Me and John are just dying. We're already on the floor, but we're rolling on the floor. And then Roger got really deathly quiet, and he looked at me and he went, you knew that, didn't he? Didn't you? You knew that when you told me to go in there and get a burrito. And folks, this is why this is the number one. I could not talk. I could not breathe. In fact, I was really kind of scared. I had hot tears coming down my eyes. I hurt all over. It was hard to breathe. I was struggling. I got a little scared there. Thought I might be dying. I could not respond to him. I could not respond. I could not. I was hurting. I was like, oh, and I'm trying to get the words like, and just tears coming down. My face must be beet red because I am warm. And he goes, Peckerwad. And he goes off into he slams his door into his room. And John and I must have laughed for 25. I'm not even joking. 25 minutes. I'll have to ask John. It was a long time. And we kept saying, we hurt. And my stomach hurt the next day. My stomach hurt the next day because I had laughed so hard. You're flexing those muscles. It was like I was doing crunches and push-ups. And John hurt for a couple of days. I think I only hurt for one day, but I woke up going, ow, ow, because I'd laughed so hard. I had hurt myself. It is still the funny, I'm almost tearing up a little bit right now talking about it. Funniest thing ever. Anyway, I'm done. Let me know. Funniest moments for you. When'd you laugh the hardest? I'll see you next time on Saturday Morning Samoflange.